Welcome into another live stream, Finance After Dark, and tonight I have been inspired by none other than TikTok because I've been doing some research on a upcoming series for YouTube that I'm currently working on, where I'm going to be reacting to different personal finance kind of thoughts and content. And TikTok always brings the interesting stuff. There's a lot of good stuff, a lot of great stuff, and then there's a lot of terrible stuff. So I am fully inspired by all of that to make kind of this live stream, and I kind of specifically want to talk about budgeting, but I'd be open, in the chat if you guys wanted to change the conversation around a little bit. So let me know what you're thinking. But here's the thing, guys. No, I cannot play Fortnite, Matthew, but I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm past my prime on video games. I talk here about personal finances, so saving money, paying off debt, building up your personal finance foundation. I've been a corporate accountant for the last 10 plus years. I'm a very boring person, and I like talking about personal finances. I paid off $43,000 of debt. Me and my wife did. So we're just trying to talk about finance here. I know. Sad face. Anyway, back to the content at hand here. So I wanted to talk about budgeting and some misbeliefs that I saw on the internet tonight, and they were very concerning, and I had to jump on and talk about this. So in case you're new to me, I'm actually doing this nightly sort of Finance After Dark live stream. I'm going to be doing it until the end of June. So if you like personal finances, you like talking about saving money or paying off debt, or you're trying to get new strategies, something like that, come join me. I don't know exactly what time every single night. It's basically going to be put my kids to bed, work on some stuff, and then when I get tired, just kind of jump on here because this energizes me a little bit, which is very fun. And yeah, I just made a commitment to myself. I'm going to do it through the end of June, every single night, no matter what's going on. How old am I? I'm 36. I'm old, Erica. I'm very old. Very old. Too old for Fortnite. So yeah, budgeting. Let's talk about budgeting. Are you guys interested in budgeting? Yes, no, anyone? Because I am. And some people on TikTok were, and they were giving some pretty hellacious takes. So I'm just going to kind of summarize like some general takes and then talk about them. Hopefully it's going to help you think about budgeting and personal finances a little differently. I don't like telling people what to do or saying, hey, you should do this, or hey, you need to change this. I like to make sure that everyone is aware of what's going on in their personal finances to be able to make their own decisions and give them as many options or opportunities to change what they're currently doing. So quite frankly, one of the first people that I saw, she has a massive following on TikTok, over like 2 million followers. And she said that budgets are bullshit. And I don't know if that was because that was kind of the first thing she said. So I don't know if that was to, keep people hooked or whatever. But she kind of went on to say how budgeting is this restrictive act for people. And when they go on it, it's all about like the psychology, right? So if we start budgeting and we see it as restrictive, our psychological, she was using all this psychological stuff, guys. Our psychology is going to keep telling us that we're bad at money because we're looking at budgeting as it being a restrictive process. And it's just not. It's actually a process that shows us what we can do with our money. It's an intentional process, and it's all about just getting more data. Budgeting gives us more data. It shows us what we can do with our money, right? We all make some sort of money, right? So if you make an income, you can budget. And if you look at it as, instead of thinking like, okay, I need to cut everything back, I'm on a strict budget, because I think that's the way that people use it. It's like, oh, I'm on a budget, or I have a budget. So maybe we need to change the phraseology. Maybe we need to not call it a budget. We need to, I don't know, just call it something simple like a plan or something. But because I think budget, I think budget's got this negative connotation around it. where like if you're on a budget or I'm doing budget, it's like everything's just like a negative thought around it. And the budgeting process is actually, my nerd might be showing here, but it's kind of exciting because again, it gives us a look inside of our personal finances of what we're allowed to do, what we can do with the money that we have. And there's really no reason to like, I understand why people are, discouraged going through the budgeting process, right? But because I was there too over 10 years ago, living paycheck to paycheck, all this stuff. So I totally get it. But every month is a new opportunity to make a change, right? And there's really three ways. I think how this stems down to is people feel like they don't make enough money. So let me know if that's you, kind of in the chat. Let me know if that's you in the chat. And because there's three ways that we can all have more money, right? We can either make more money, we can spend less money, or we can do both at the same time, right? It's a crazy list. It's a crazy list. And I think people's first mindset is to go to just cutting expenses because that's the easier, faster thing to do, right? But there's only so much there's only so many expenses that you can cut, right? Eventually it's like, even if you cut everything and you stopped eating and you stopped living under a roof and you just literally stopped everything, like eventually you can't cut anymore. Whereas like making more money, you can always make more money, right? There's always opportunities for, increasing your skill or getting a promotion at your job or, pivoting careers, but like learning a new skill and doing a side hustle. There's a lot of stuff, right? And then obviously the power of doing both of those at the same time is great. But basically what I'm trying to say is like, we getting discouraged over doing something for a short period of time, you're not giving it enough time to breathe. You're not giving it enough of a chance to succeed. And the way I kind of like to think about it is this. If you're struggling with your money, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you got a lot of debt or something like that, you're walking down this street, right? And one of the paths goes left. One of the paths goes right. Now, the path that you're currently on is tough, right? And you're looking at the left path is basically you stay in the same space that you're in. You don't make really any changes. And what ends up happening is you go take a left and it's a loop. It's like basically like a high school track, right? And it comes right back around to the same fork in the road again and again and again and again. But you're looking at the right side, which could be more promising, but it's an immediate huge incline of a hill. And you're like, oh, that looks so hard. And it just looks like it's dark outright. It's scary. You don't know what's happening. And you're looking over, there's like, I don't know, that looks hard. And when the opportunity has to come, you have to pick. You pick the way that's just going to bring you back around to the fork in the road. I challenge you to go to the other path, the right path, where yes, it's going to be hard at first. There's going to be things that are going to be hard and you're going to feel like a failure, to be quite honest with you. Like I'm being honest with you. Because I'm helping people with their personal finances. It's part of what I'm doing here. I'm making content. I have a free personal finance community, right? And those are the people that I'm helping for free, by the way. And I just think we all need to think about any skill that you have currently. It could be a skill for your job. It could be something that you're passionate about or very good at, it's like a hobby or something like that. Like you weren't good at it right away. None of us were good at it right away. We always have things to, I don't know. There's always a process to learn something, right? Like we didn't read right away. We didn't learn how to ride a bike right away. We didn't learn the skills for our current job right away, right? So this is going to be the same thing where, me personally, I've been budgeting for over 10 years and I'm not perfect with the budgeting process always. And it's still like a pain in the ass to do. And yes, it's like, there's months and weeks that I just don't want to do it, but I know that it's helpful because if I go 6 months without budgeting, I'm going to be pretty lost, right? I'm going to like, and by budgeting, I just mean like tracking my finances, making a plan, sticking to the plan, looking out in years from now and making sure that that plan that I have, the stuff that I'm doing today is aligned with that plan. And if stuff changes and we kind of work around the edges there. But that's just kind of my thoughts on that. What are you guys thinking? Any thoughts on anything that I've mentioned so far? Because I'm going to get into kind of the next thing that I saw. This one TikTok, he was very he was trying to look very like tough, like he was driving a car. He was trying to look real tough, and he said that some controversial advice, and I agree it's a little controversial, and maybe there's some truth to it, but I think for the vast majority of people just kind of starting out with their personal finances, it might not be the best thing to think through. But he said that in order to, and this kind of goes back to maybe saving money, but to sort of increase your earnings, you have to increase your expenses, which kind of makes no sense right in the beginning. He's basically saying like, if you just keep inflating your expenses, he didn't say this, but I'm reading between the lines, but you're just going to stress yourself out so much about the expense side of it that you have no choice but to just try and make more money in other ways. Now, this is like, again, I get what he was going for. It was like a mindset of like, okay, I have a freaking problem that I have to fix and I need to make more money to be able to make that happen. But I think it's pretty dangerous advice to be sharing with people that like, oh, okay, if you increase your expenses, like your income's definitely going to go up, is kind of the messaging that he was saying. And I don't know, if your expenses go up, even like in 1 month, it's really hard to overcome that in 1 month. Like if you're building a business, like sometimes that takes a very long time to like, scale up and make that thing happen. Or it's like even a 9-to-5 job, like your company's not going to keep giving you like a monthly raise because your expenses increases, right? Maybe if you're in sales, like you just keep like crushing it in sales or something like that. But I just think it's like pretty tough advice. Do any of you guys watching this right now, or maybe later on, afterwards, the replay, do any of you guys currently budget your finances? Do you have a plan for next month? Do you have a plan for next year? Do you have a plan for 10 years from now? I'd love to kind of know where you guys sit with that, because I think it's a helpful thing for me to see, and then I can maybe try to help you out live here. But because that's why I'm doing these. I'm going daily, and without kind of your support and contributions in the chat and the conversations, it's hard to talk about. It's hard to come up with topics every single night to be able to make this happen. So again, I'm doing this Finance After Dark live stream through the end of June at the very least. I told myself that I'm just going to commit to that and just kind of see what happens and see the kind of community that comes through here. So if you're interested in hanging out with me once or twice a week or whatever for the next month at least, make sure you subscribe, because it'll tell you when I'm going live. It'll probably be around like the 9 p.m. ish Eastern hour time in the United States. So yeah, I'd love to see you guys a couple days a week or something. That would be awesome. But yeah, back to these terrible TikToks. So if you're just joining me, I was motivated to do this live stream because I was doing some research on TikTok, which crazy that anyone has ever said that sentence. I'm doing a video series on YouTube I'm reacting to different kinds of content, and I just saw some stuff that I didn't like, and I was like, oh, I gotta. If people are saying this on TikTok and it's getting tens and hundreds of thousands of views, I probably need to put my 2 cents in at least on the topics. Again, I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to give you different mindsets. That's all. Different thought processes. Puppet Gush. What's going on? Actually unemployed for year and a half, I had $12,000 in my bank and only lost about 800 of that. Wish I didn't lose any, but okay. So you're unemployed for a while and you didn't really see a dip in your bank account. That's great. So does that mean you were just on like unemployment, or how are you kind of keeping up with your expenses? But that's great to hear that you didn't lose any. We always want to keep the money that we have. We want to, not that I talk about investing on this channel really or anything like that, but we want to, like, once we're in a spot where we're kind of like, because this is interesting. I think there's a lot of content, and I wasn't really watching this on TikTok today, but a lot of content about like how you can have your money make you money, kind of all this other stuff, right? Investing, and like, it's true. A lot of it is like, it potentially is a good opportunity if you kind of do your research and you know what you're doing. But I think the most important thing, the hardest thing that someone can do, is going from negative, we'll call it like your net worth, right? A negative net worth to zero, then like going from zero to, I don't know, 10,000, 100,000, because you're just like dragging yourself up this hill. And again, I was in $43,000 of debt that my wife and I were able to pay off in just over a year. And we were like, for so long, we were just making minimum payments. We were being super lazy with all of our debt. And we drew a line in the sand one day and we just made a complete change. And that was just, it was tough. It was tough. And then once we stopped paying money to other people, we were paying money to our future selves. And everything just sort of like skyrockets when that happens, because we're making ourselves, our future selves wealthy. We're not making other people wealthy. We're not making financial institutions wealthy. And this isn't me, I'm not like bashing debt or anything like that. Like, we have a mortgage like that we're working on paying off too. So, we're not completely debt free, but we got rid of all of our consumer debt, the credit cards, the student loans, right? And I just think it's an interesting thing to think about, where like everyone wants to be on the third floor of the building, the rooftop of the building, right? Because it's like fun, it's sexy, whatever. But we can't get there. We can't get to the rooftop. We can't build the rooftop if we don't build the foundation. So we can't do all this like fun finance stuff of like having our money make money if our foundation isn't set. And that's why I make the content that I have on my YouTube channel. That's why I'm doing these live streams daily, because I just think it's so important. It's probably the first step that anyone should be taking. Live with my dad, only eating eggs, hard time finding a job. I found one. Nice. Wasn't on unemployment, had a little bit. Okay. Yeah, so you got through the tough time by just being smart with your money. I love that. And you found one. Nice. So is the job something that you enjoy, or you just found the job because it was the job? Monthly phone bill. Yeah. Okay. So is the job like in a field that you like, or is it you just literally took a job to make money? Either way, that's great. I appreciate you sharing that story. Thank you. Just going to take a sip of water here. My throat is dying. But does that make sense, guys, about the foundation needing to be set before we can kind of do anything fun or sexy? It's like, sure, you can pay off debt and invest at the same time. You can pay off debt and save money and invest at the same time. You can do crypto and be in a ton of debt. Like, we can do all of them at once. But what I've found is, okay, imagine this. Imagine you have $800. I don't know. I just randomly threw that out. Imagine you have $800 to put towards money stuff. So like financial goals, right? Saving, paying off debt, investing, I don't know, crypto, whatever the things are. And you put $100 towards 8 different things. Or what would happen if you took that same $800 and you put it towards one thing? Which one of those paths do you think is probably more likely to succeed? Now, you've taken away in the first one, you're trying to like hope one of them hits it big, right? You're trying to hope that one of the 8 is like going to take you to the next level. It's like, okay, maybe that happens. Or we just put all of our eggs into one basket of again, paying off debt. Like if we're in a ton, it's just like, let's just focus on that for now. As long as we have like a little emergency fund buffer, then after that, we attack the one thing. So debt, for example. And then once we're debt free, then or getting closer to debt free, we start building up the savings, because saving money will not make us rich, but it does help build the habit of like having good, I don't know, the financial foundation, like we've been talking about. So if you save $100 a month and you say you have zero savings now and you just start saving $100 a month, that's not going to make you rich. But what it's doing is it's building a habit of you putting money towards your financial goals. And then eventually that $100 is going to turn into more. And that more is going to turn into more, right? Because our ideally, as we go through life, like our skills should be improving. We should be making more income. We should be, we should be more valuable in the marketplace at a 9 to 5, or if you're working on a business or something, like we should keep just improving everything all the time. And eventually we're going to be making more money. And that $100 is going to turn into $1,000 a month. And you're going to have so much money in savings that you're going to want to, put some money to investing, and you're going to be debt free. Maybe you have like a mortgage or something that you're paying off, but still, like, everything just sort of ramps up here. It gets pretty exciting. Career job, union welding, like we were saying, obviously. Acting on the plan is different because accounting from your perspective, from your present budget. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the plan, yeah, I agree, Puppet Gush, that it's one thing to have a plan, it's another thing to do the plan. But that's why like having a plan is important, because you can just you make the plan and then you you try to attack the plan. And each month is it's a new opportunity. So if you sit there and you're like, okay, we're in June right now. So if you had a plan for June and you get towards the end of the month, it's like, oh man, it didn't work out because of XYZ. It's like, okay, well, why didn't it work out? Like, were you expecting to put money towards a financial goal? And that didn't happen. Let's say your goal was, the $100 savings. It's like, okay, why didn't that happen? You look at your budget and you're like, did I go over or under? Like, where was I? And, based on my expectations for the month, did I have an unexpected expense? It's like, okay, I had an unexpected expense. So maybe I need to, I'm working on the savings goal. I need to like really prioritize the savings goal. What if I automate money just coming right from my paycheck every time? So it's like, I get a paycheck. So if you get paid twice a month, you would do $50 a check. If you get paid weekly, you would do $25 a check. And it just like automatically comes out. And then you have to kind of figure out the rest of the money, where it's like, it's not we don't want our financial goals to be reactive. We want to be a little proactive with them. So it's like, okay, that money is gone, the savings, and gone. But gone, I mean like it's in your savings account, or I don't know, high yield savings account, wherever you have it. And then from there, we take the rest of the money and figure out the rest of our life, and we see if that works. And then if it does, great, we try to do it again in back-to-back months. And if it doesn't work, we try to tweak something else. All right, man. Have a great night. So does this kind of make sense for you guys? How are we feeling on all this? What's your guys like preferred social media? Do you guys? I mean, you guys are on YouTube now, but are you guys on the TikToks? Are you doing Instagrams? What are we doing here? Because me personally, I am almost strictly on just YouTube consuming content. And I went over to TikTok. That seems to be a nice little trend that's happening on YouTube, where people are going to other social media sites, reacting to certain things. So that's just kind of what's going to be coming down the pipeline for me. But yeah, so we talked about one lady. So if you're just joining me, this live stream was inspired by me going on to TikTok and researching a lot of personal finance content over there, and I'm going to be reacting to some videos that I see over there. And some of them that I saw were just completely kind of outrageous. One person said, in her words, that budgets are bullshit. And I kind of went over that a little earlier. Someone said, in order to keep increasing your earnings, you have to increase your expenses, meaning that if your expenses increase enough, you'll be, and I'm paraphrasing, but you'll be a little more stressed and you'll just force yourself to make more money, which kind of dangerous to say that, in my opinion. And then there's the content where, and I'm not going to deem this as bad advice, but it might not be for everyone depending on where they are in the journey. So someone was talking about how saving money is literally the worst thing that you can do with your money, and that you need to be investing. And it's not, I agree and I disagree. I would say if you don't have any savings, we gotta save, because saving money and investing money are different things. So I just want to be very clear about that, and I want everyone to know that that is true, that saving money and investing money are not the same. I think society kind of interchanges these too much. And so I think when people say saving, maybe they mean investing, and I don't know, vice versa maybe, but saving money is great for building habits of, doing the financial goal stuff. So again, if you have no savings, start saving something. Start saving $25 a paycheck. I don't know, just start saving something. You're going to build the habit. And then you're like, oh, okay, this is actually not too hard. And then what happens is you end up prioritizing these financial goals, and you are more willing to change other aspects of your life, because you're like, wow, this is actually really cool. I'm building the habit of the savings, and like I can, cut around the edges of all the other stuff that aren't as important to me, right? So saving money is good for that, the building habit. It's also good for like short term, if you're like literally trying to buy something soon. If you were, say, investing that, the money could be going up and down and up and down, and that could be stressful. It's like, no, I need to buy something in the next 12 months or do this thing in the next 12 months. So I'm just going to be like, quote, saving it. So basically the difference is saving has a lower interest rate return than, not always investing, but the potential ceiling of investing is higher than saving money. So yeah, I agreed and disagreed that saving money is like the worst thing that you can do, and you should only be investing. I don't think that advice is for everyone. I think if you're in a ton of debt, if you have no savings, then you shouldn't be investing money, in my personal opinion. Like, we gotta be getting out of the debt. We gotta be saving a little money, and then once you have your foundation set, then we can go to the next level. But that's kind of how I feel on that. How are we feeling? I'm just gonna take a quick sip of water. My throat again is like, I don't really talk this much by myself continuously. So but yeah, if you're just checking in here, I am doing this Finance After Dark live stream every single night through at least June 30th. That's kind of what I've committed to myself. I'm just going to do that. And I don't know what time it's going to be every night. I'm on the East Coast, but basically I put my kids down to bed around 7 / they don't really go to sleep. Then my wife kind of handles it. I go down to the office here. I do some work for my content, for my personal finance community. Like, I have some obligations in there. Like, I'm doing calls with people inside of there to sort of help them level up their personal finances. And then what I've been doing the last couple of nights is, like, when I get tired, I just kind of jump on here and it re-energizes me. I got this bright ass light over here. But then just kind of seeing you guys in the chat coming in and out of the video and all this other stuff. And it's just fun for me. So I'm going to be doing this for a while. And if you guys like this, make sure you smash the like button or subscribe to the channel, so you get notified when I go live. And I'd love to hang out with you every night's aggressive. I'm not expecting anyone to do that, but like a couple times a week. That would be so cool if I started seeing some of the same names in here. It would be really cool. So I thought I'd go over, how long have I been going for? Okay, like 30 minutes. So I kind of wanted to go over, and this is from another piece of content that I made, like a long form video. And since we're talking about budgeting, I kind of wanted to throw this into it as like the second part of the live stream. But I made a video that was titled 10 budgeting mistakes you're making and how to fix them. And this is, again, from my experience as someone who has been budgeting for over a decade, who has made so many mistakes and still do, right? And I just, from my perspective, and also I have some stories in here about people that I've worked with, and I wouldn't say that, like, they're making mistakes, but it's just like common themes that I'm seeing that I think if someone tweaked, I think it would be much, much better. And we kind of talked about this, but the first budgeting mistake you're probably making is you're not including financial goals as a budget line item. And this kind of goes back to our conversations before. We've been talking a lot about financial goals and saving and paying off debt, but I think what happens, and tell me if I'm right or wrong here, tell me in the chat of what you guys think, but I think what happens is, because life can be very challenging at times, and it's like go, 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 go. You get to the end of the month, and the end of the month is when you were going to like put that extra money toward your debt or fund your emergency fund, and you look at your bank and you're like, what the hell? I have no money left. I'm like out of money. How did that happen? And you do it again. It's like you go through the month. It's like, okay, the start of the month, I'm gonna do what I said, the financial goal, and then it doesn't happen again because you're we just have to start planning for it. So I like the idea of automating our financial goals, because then what happens is like, okay, the money comes in, it instantly goes out to that financial goal. Again, saving money, paying off debt, whatever it is, right? And then the rest of the money that you have is what you have left. I think if you worked with that mindset where it's like, okay, let's say use the $100 example, right? If we put $100 extra towards something, so we take out that $100, now we have $100 less to work with for the rest of our stuff. And I think that would actually be a little more beneficial, because then you're scrapping, we'll call them like a want item, $100 worth of want items, right? Because in theory, we should be paying for our need items. So think the roof over our head, I don't know, utilities, whatever, you know what the things are, things that we like literally need, groceries, right? And then, so if you do those and then financial goals, and then the rest, the scraps, is the want list, I think that would be very, very helpful. Because and if you don't know like what maybe those categories are for you, what I recommend to anyone who's either new to budgeting or hasn't really found their footing with budgeting or planning or tracking their finances is something called the 3-month look back. And basically what happens here is you, just like the name says, you go back 3 months worth of your expenses. So we're currently in June as I'm doing this live stream. So you would want to look at May, April, and March, all of the expenses that you have for those months, and put them just on like a sheet or even a piece of paper, however you want to do it. It doesn't matter. And then you can kind of see by category how much you are spending for the last 3 months, and you'll get like an average, and it's going to give you great insight into like, okay, where am I actually spending our money? Because if we're honest with ourselves, I don't know about you, but I can barely remember what I did like yesterday or 2 days ago, right? So it's like, how am I going to remember what I spent 30 days ago, 24 days ago? So it's like, that's why we have a plan and a budget, and we track our finances, and then we do it on a somewhat regular basis. I would say like weekly, so it doesn't get out of hand, meaning like updating our budget weekly. But the 3-month look back is very helpful, and then we see where the money has been going. And from that, we can kind of readjust the categories based on what we deem to be the most important. So if you're going through and you're like, okay, yep, Okay, groceries, yeah, it looks good. Utilities, that's fine. Yeah, no problem. It's like, okay, so like I have two kids, right? So it's like, okay, kid stuff, sure, that's reasonable. And then you go to like, I don't know, dining out. It's like, whoa, $400 a month. Like, what happened here? Is this correct? And you look back at your statements, like, oh wow, yeah, no, I'm being an idiot. I'm spending that much on eating out or something, right? And you're like, okay, well, obviously I can cut back here. This is an issue. And then it's like, well, if I cut back on the dining out, then I'm missing out on meals. So I need to up my grocery bill a little bit, right? Just an example like that. But budgeting is not restrictive, so it works the other way too. Let's say for you, something that's really important is exercising or being healthy or fit, whatever. And you're like, yeah, this is one of the most important things for me. So when you go through that 3-month look back and you look at your health and fitness and you're like, whoa, I'm only spending $30 a month on my health and fitness. I'm telling myself that it's important, and I'm only spending $30. Like, I just have a gym membership and that's all I'm doing. So it's like, okay, well, how can I like kind of align what I'm saying is important versus what my money is saying is important? Because that's the whole thing here. The budget and the tracking and the plan, it shows us what we are saying we value the most with our dollars. And this actually could work too in other ways of life, not just money. Like, you could do a time audit, which sounds intense, but once you see like where you're spending your time in your life, that's again what you're telling yourself matters the most, right? So in the 10 years ago period when my wife and I were very poor, guess what we were doing like a lot? It was not anything productive. I mean, we would see friends and family a lot, sure, but like we'd also just like veg on the couch for hours and hours watching shows. Like, we loved watching shows, and like that's fine. Like, I'm not hating on that or anything like that. We were watching TV or a streaming app for hours, like almost every day, and it was just like, you look back and you just kind of get angry at yourself, like, why was I doing that? Like, me being entertained is not like at a full top priority. And maybe stuff's changed because now we have kids and now all this other stuff. But it's just interesting to look at. So yeah, I would try the 3-month look back. And actually, in the, well, I don't know if it's easy to get to the description of this live stream, but in my channel page, there's a link to my free personal finance community. If you join that, you get access to the free tools. Everything in the community is free, by the way. I've never asked anyone for a penny or more in there, but yeah, there's a budget template in there, and attached to it is the 3-month look back. So you do the 3-month look back, and it rolls into the budget template, and it's very helpful to kind of get started. It's like a DIY starter kit kind of thing for budgeting. And there's also a debt payment calculator in there too. So if you're interested, it's school.com/debt. So again, the link is on my channel page. You could check that out. So the next budgeting mistake that you're probably making is, and depending on when you join the live stream or you're still watching, I talked about this a little earlier, but a budgeting mistake that you're still making is giving up too soon when the first budget fails. And I've seen this a lot, unfortunately. When I'm helping people with their personal finances, they're all jazzed up to make a change, to make things happen. And they go through the 3-month look back. They're like, ooh, wow, that was brutal. I was like, yeah, but you know what? It's a one-time time investing, because it can be kind of tedious to go through. Depending on how organized your finances are, it could be a lot to go through 3 months worth of expenses. So I've had people where they have literally like, they have 2 bank accounts and 5 credit cards or something. And it's like, they had to go through like all these statements, and they're like, okay, I know the first thing I need to do is stop using so many accounts, because that was very challenging. It's like, okay, great. So you learn other things that maybe you weren't anticipating. But unfortunately, there's some people that go through the process and they do the first month and they're like, oh, it's not working. And then they stop doing it. It's like, well, it's not working because you're new at this. And you shouldn't, berate yourself for for not like quote succeeding in the first month. It's like you made a budget, you went for it, you tried, and each month is a new opportunity to change. That's what I think is just the most important. Like every month is a new opportunity. So we can't just like we can't quit. We have to, like, if this is actually important to you, we'll keep going, and we're going to find a different carrot to kind of dangle out in front of you. Because I think that's the important thing too, is like, why are we doing this? Yes, of course, most people would probably say that they would like to improve their personal finances in some form or fashion, right? Because personal finances never ends. Like, you don't just like, oh, okay, I paid off my credit card and now it's over. It's like, oh, okay, I built up my emergency fund to the number that I wanted, so now my personal finances is over. It's like, no, it doesn't really work like that. There's always a next level. Like, I mean, the richest people in the world, they have personal finances. Now, they're probably the one not looking into them. They probably have someone that does that, right? But, you know, if you make any sort of income, you have personal finances. So everyone has them, and there's always a next level to it. So my recommendation is just like, try stuff and stick with it for a little bit, and then try something new. So on last night's live stream here on Finance After Dark, I was talking about 5 budgeting strategies that I've actually used over the last, I guess, decade plus now. So I tried 5 different things. So I've tried cash only budgeting. I've tried bi-weekly budgeting. What were the other ones? I've tried the 50-30-20 sort of budgeting strategy. I've tried, and I guess I can go over those too, but I would just check out if you're interested in like the different budgeting strategies. I talked about 5 budgeting strategies last night, and 5 debt payment strategies as well. I talked about I went pretty deep into all that last night. But basically what I'm saying is like, I just kept trying new things because I wanted to make it work, and my why was strong enough where it's like, I'm not going to stop doing the thing just because this feels hard, or I feel stupid, or I don't feel like I make enough money, whatever the thing is, right? So yeah, because it's like about skills, like doing a budget or personal finance. It's just a skill, right? So like when you got thrown in the pool for the first time, or the ocean, you didn't know how to swim, right? We didn't know how to swim. We didn't know how to write our names the first time we touched a pencil, right? Like we learn things. So just kind of give it some time, and like give yourself a little, like cut yourself some slack a little bit. Cause it's like, Hey man, I'm trying, I'm trying to do this thing. So, get off my back. I'm trying. And, you just, every month's a new opportunity. Another one that's really important. So, another budgeting mistake that you're probably making, and I've seen this a lot. I've been guilty of this a lot, and let me know kind of what your take is on this, but not communicating with a partner, if you have a partner, about financial goals, is a huge mistake. Now, when my wife and I were paying off $43,000 of debt, and we did that in just over a year, we literally had, of course it was my idea because I'm like the finance person or whatever, but we had a 5 to 10 minute meeting every single month at the beginning of the month, on our couch in our living room with a crappy old spreadsheet that we would update. It basically just had, okay, here are all the loans that we have like due. Here's the total amount for each of the loans. And then we just went through each of us and updated the new totals based on the new month. Because I had debt in my name, she had debt in just her name, and we had combined debt. Like it was a complete disaster. We had 12 total loans, I think it was. Just a disaster, right? But we did that spreadsheet, and then we talked for like 5 minutes, like, okay, what debts are we going to focus on for this month? Because we had all these debts all over the place, but we had one bank account, right? So if I thought that the most important debt was, ABC debt, and she thought the most important debt was XYZ, and we both like go aggressive paying it off and we're using the same bank account, like we could have like really screwed ourselves over. So again, it was just like a 5 to 10 minute meeting in our house. Like, so I just think it's really, really important to do that. Okay. Yeah. So, the next budgeting mistake that you're probably making is using unrealistic spending limits. And this can go like either way. They can go, your spending limits are too high, your spending limits are too low. But I wanted to talk about your spending limits being too low, because here's what happens. Let me know if this resonates, if you've ever kind of tried this. You get in a financial situation, you start slashing your expenses extremely. You're like getting all excited. You're like, okay, all we have to do is cut our expenses for, I don't know, 6 months, and we're gonna have $500 extra a month, and we're gonna put it towards our debt. We're gonna become debt free. We're gonna save all this money. Blah blah blah. And but then after like 1 or 2 months, you realize that you've like you've gone too far with the slashing, and you're like, it's too aggressive. It's not sustainable. Like, life is not happy. And you go back to normal. You go back to the problems that you're facing. So like you're like, oh, I have this 6 month really intense plan. It's going to be awesome. And then 2 months in, you fall out of it because it was like, quote, hard or whatever. And, you were like cutting too much, cutting too many things out of your life, and it was just not sustainable. And I would much rather have someone do a more sustainable process. I would much rather have someone do a sustainable process. Like, meaning like one that maybe it would take slightly longer if you ran the numbers, but like it's one that you know that you can easily stick to. And then what happens with that is, as you keep going through it. So let's say instead of the 6 months of really intense, let's say it's 9 to 12 months of, a little cranked down. So then you get to that 6 month mark and you're like, you know what? Let's crank it up again. Or you get through 3 months, you're like, no, we can actually crank the challenge a little more here, because we're doing pretty well, and I think we're gonna be fine. So yeah, crank it. So kind of, I know, like, I don't know, people talk about like, hey, just like stop spending money, make more money, but realistically, it's just hard, I think, for a lot of people to do that, and it's easy to say, it's hard to do. So I think just having something that's more sustainable would be much, much, much better for you. Because if I were to say, if I was like, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds in a week, and I'm only going to eat 500 calories a day, like, that's not a sustainable thing for me, right? Or anyone, right? So it's like, we have to be careful about the extremes on both ends. And that's why each month is a good learning process to kind of figure out what can you do, what can't you do, and every month's a new opportunity with your budget, with your plan, etc., to kind of make things happen. All right, so how's everyone doing on this Sunday night here? It's like 10 p.m. for me, Eastern Standard Time. I'm probably gonna hop off soon. My throat is like dying, and I got early alarm in the morning. But if you're joining me now, I appreciate you being here. Finance After Dark, I'm going to be doing this live stream every single night. And I told myself I'm just going to do it through the end of June for right now. So if you appreciate that, or if you like this content, like, make sure to smash the like button. Make sure to subscribe to get notified when I go live. It's going to be every night. I don't know, we'll call it 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Like, basically when I start getting super tired and I want to go to bed, it's like, no, turn on this light here and talk into that camera, and just make some content, talk about some stuff. So I also have a free personal finance community. It's called Dollar Discipline University. That link can be found in the description of this live stream or on my channel page. And basically in there, I'm helping people pay off more debt, save more money, build up your personal finance foundation. And I take free strategy calls with people that are in there. And I also do other coaching calls in there, and everything in the community is free right now until my calendar gets stupid. So if you like kind of this raw sort of conversation, I'm live, right? So, I mean, if you like this is kind of what like coaching or working with me would look like. Again, for completely free. I'm not asking anyone for a penny. But once my calendar gets stupid and my family hates me for taking so many calls, I will have to put like a monetary barrier behind it. But right now, I'm open. So check out the free community, book your call, and we'll see how I can help or whatever. But until tomorrow night, guys, have a good one.